All right. So the thing that I'm gonna talk about, and I was gonna actually like I know I've been off 2 weeks, and shout out to everyone who supported me and reached out and was like, "Where's the podcast?" I love you guys. But so this week, in the Minor Hayes segment, I'm actually gonna talk about what I was originally gonna drop last week, but the weeks got away from me. I'm working on my next short film. I apologize. And that is the controversy within the Heights. Right. We talked a little bit about it on the Breaks Radio, and the film I think was a great film. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I think it was a little bit too long, but I think I really enjoyed the film overall. But there's a lot of controversy coming about that over it not being enough black Latinos in it or black people in Washington Heights. And shout out to Mary on the Breaks Radio who pointed out that Washington Heights is a extremely diverse place, saying that you wouldn't go far without seeing black people. Because I was in the mindset of seeing, like, I felt like In the Heights was a story being told about a specific group of people. And if it wasn't a huge amount of diversity in that group of people, it was just told that it wasn't even though it was technically about Washington Heights, which, I mean, that played a part in it, but not much. But I never felt like it was saying this is a whole representation of exactly what the Heights are. That's how I took it until Mary came out, and then more details have come out about, like, there were black Latinos or Afro Latinos who auditioned and just didn't get the parts. There was actually a big uh storyline that was built around a black Latino in it, or a black person in it, that was taken out of the movie. And then that did start painting the picture that maybe it was something directly done here. Now, it's been a little while, so I'm not going to dive as deep into that as I probably would have initially. But I will say this is that diversity and inclusion, and I get it, we're in a place where it's at an all-time high when it comes to racial tensions. And part of that is because of the regime that was in power with the last president, and just the overtone of racism in this country, in the state of America, and everything. It's always going to be a sensitive topic, and we always want to see diversity. We always want to see inclusion. Now, I am of the mindset that not every story is going to have much diversity and inclusion, depending on what it's told. My original view of In the Heights, before I was a little more educated on it, was because I thought it was about a specific group of people. You didn't see many people outside of that. But I think we're in a place now. You hear about, like, Warner Brothers is going to be doing a Black Superman. I have a black writer and I think a black director too, and they're going to be doing a Black Superman. And people are, you know, on both sides of the coin, they're glad to see it. Some people are like, well, we have other black superheroes. There are black versions of a Black Superman in the comics. They don't necessarily have to make Clark Kent black, but, like, there's a lot of different routes they can go. We don't know yet. But when we start getting to that place, and this is something that I've been really outspoken about, I think a lot of times, like, we'll get a whole bunch of black actors, right, that we want, and then it becomes about their complexion, where there's not enough light skin, or they're more light skin than dark skin actors. Then we get dark skin actors, and this is why, oh, they're actually British, and how that British actors, and why they aren't casting African Americans. Like, we constantly divide, and like I said, diversity and inclusion, that's never going to be a problem at all. But I think, like, the conversation starts losing context in certain ways. Like, everybody just wants everything diverse, and, like, for example, just think about it the other way around. Like, Friday, for example, didn't have very many white people in it. It's one of our cultural movies. Like, and it would have been disingenuous to add a bunch of white people just for inclusion into a story like that, because that was very much a story of us. So I think with the diversity thing, it has to fit first the narrative that's being told there. It has to fit the story that's being told. And yes, you could always make characters black, and and that's fine too. But if you just want to add some diversity that way, but we want honest. I personally, for me, the thing that I the excuse me, the place that it gets dangerous for me personally is when people make things diverse just to say that they did, rather than it being honest and true. And that's what I don't want. I don't want it to now become, oh, well, we need to cast four more black people, and then those four black characters aren't really fleshed out. They're just there to say that they had them. That's not true diversity. I want true diversity. And I think, for me personally, when I'm thinking about this, it has to start with the story that's being told. When you create and craft these stories, it has to be from a place of wanting it to be diverse. Because, yeah, while you can gender swap, race swap some colors, and it doesn't really affect the narrative that's being told there, which is perfectly fine. Um, you know, I think they're good. They're a good place to start, and they're a great place to start in a lot of different ways. But I think ultimately the story that's being told. Like, you hear people say that they want to see like black fantasy, more black fantasy characters and stuff like that. And in situations like that, it's like, okay, is the race of who you like, is it so important? Is it important to the character that this character be white or this character be Latino? Like, just cast the best actor. And often to that, we're like giving excuses of why a person of color or a black person isn't cast, and like that's when it doesn't feel right. So basically, what I'm going around, what I'm talking about here to just bring it all home is that when I hear about this controversy within the Heights, when I hear about like more controversy about diversity inclusion in films and TV and stuff like that, for me, it's not just about the casting. It starts at a more rudimentary level with the original story that's being told, and that's why we need more black representation in the writing room. We need more black writers. We need more black producers, because I think that's what builds it in, and it's more genuine in those cases. I don't want a character to just be race swapped and say, "Hey, there you go, you guys got your black character." It it it, it doesn't feel good like that. Part of the reason why Black Panther was so culturally, racially, and important worldwide is the fact that that story, yes, the Black Panther is always black in the comics, but outside of that, the story that they told and the visuals that they put on there and the African architecture and just the black and beautifulness that was on there was that was a purpose. It was crafted to be that when that movie, that was the part of the vision when they crafted that movie. And we want more honesty in our representation on film and TV like that. And so that's my story. Not to get on a high horse or anything about it, but that's how I feel about the situation with the In the Heights film. Let me know if you agree or disagree. But that's it. A fairly short in the Mind of Haize segment this week, just because the main segment is so lengthy with Marquis and Baylor. So we're gonna go ahead and get into a musical break, and then on the other side of that, we'll be jumping into the discussion about Jay-Z's career. I'll see you guys right after this.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.